Hello and welcome to video lecture series in political science. Today we are going to discuss chapter 4 titled as Alternative Centers of Power from your textbook Contemporary World Politics. As you know, for understanding we have divided this chapter into 6 parts, and in this various 6 parts we will discuss about the emergence of alternative centers of power that can challenge the US hegemony. So far in the first 2 parts of this chapter we have discussed about the European Union. We have discussed about the history of the EU, establishment of the EU. We have seen how founding 6 member states came together, established an economic union, over a period of time are moving towards a political union. We discussed about the various institutions of the European Union, process of enlargement and chronology of enlargement of the EU, and the values that EU espouses about its parliament, its symbols, etc. Today we are going to discuss about yet another alternative center of power, ASEAN. ASEAN is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It is an example of regional organization. Currently ASEAN is a group of 10 nations from Southeast Asia. The Association of Southeast Asian Nations, or ASEAN, was established on 8th of August 1967 by Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, Singapore and Thailand. ASEAN was established to promote political and economic cooperation and regional stability among these member states. Now look at the map of the ASEAN. The blue is the water. The yellow that you see in the map are the member states of the ASEAN. It includes currently all the 10 member states. If you look at the detailed map of these member states, we see Myanmar, Thailand, Cambodia, Singapore, Indonesia, Laos, Vietnam, Malaysia, Philippines and Brunei Darussalam. Brunei joined ASEAN shortly after its independence from the United Kingdom in the year 1984. In 1995, Vietnam joined ASEAN as its 7th member. Laos and Burma, that is Myanmar, were admitted into full membership of ASEAN in July 1997 when ASEAN celebrated its 30th anniversary. And Cambodia became ASEAN's 10th member in 1999. 8th of August is observed as ASEAN Day. The title of the ASEAN anthem is the ASEAN Way. The member states of the ASEAN were colonies of Europe and Japanese imperial powers in the history. What happened after the end of World War, these newly independent states faced problems and challenges of nation building, economic backwardness, poverty, and there was also an international pressure on these countries, on these small countries, to align with either of the superpower during the Cold War era. Efforts that were made at Bandung Conference, that is the non-alignment movement, and the conferences or organizations for third world unity, for establishing informal cooperation and interaction between newly independent states, they were also becoming ineffective. So what happened? The Southeast nations decided to establish an alternative by forming an association of Southeast Asian nations only. It was established, or ASEAN was established, by signing Bangkok Declaration. Now what was the primary objective of ASEAN? ASEAN has listed a number of objectives. Let us look at some of the fundamental objectives why ASEAN was established or formed. The primary or the first objective of ASEAN was to accelerate economic growth. Its objective was to achieve social progress and cultural development in the Southeast Asian region through joint endeavors in the spirit of equality and partnership. And this was done in order to strengthen the foundation for a prosperous and peaceful community of Southeast Asian nations. The second important objective of ASEAN was to promote peace and stability in the region. this peace and stability would be based upon the rule of law, protection of human rights, and also based upon the principles that are laid down by the United Nations, which are adopted globally. The third important objective of ASEAN is to promote active collaboration and mutual assistance to each other. The member states will collaborate and assist each other on matters of common interest in the field of economic, social, cultural, technical, scientific and administrative and technological know-how. The next important objective of ASEAN is to provide assistance to each other. Again, assistance in what? Assistance in terms of form of training and research facilities to each other. So, suppose there is some development that is taking place here in one country, the other countries will pool their resources together and would assist the member state in bringing the outcomes in a more positive fashion. This is in terms of training and research facilities. They are also assisting each other in the educational, professional, technical and administrative spheres. That is opening up for higher education, for professional training, for technical education, and also helping each other to set up institutional and administrative setups so that they can function effectively. The next important objective, or the fifth objective, was to collaborate more effectively for the greater utilization of agricultural resources and industries. They also want to collaborate for the expansion of trade and improvement of transportation and communication facilities within the region. As these countries came together immediately after gaining independence from the imperial power. So, one of the primary objective was to build the nation, to develop the economy, to grow. So, they also attempted to raise the living standards of the people by collaborating in the field of agriculture, industry, transportation and communication. The next important objective of the ASEAN is to promote Southeast Asian studies. Then, ASEAN aims to maintain close and beneficial cooperation with existing international and regional organizations which have similar aims and purposes. And they also want to explore all the avenues for ever closer cooperation among themselves. What do we mean by this? That they want to come together with like-minded organizations and communities so that they can mutually cooperate with each other, learn with each other, share the resources and grow together. Very interestingly, the motto of ASEAN is one vision, one identity, one community. Now, if you look at the flag of the ASEAN flag is a symbol of member states' unity and support for each other in the principles and endeavors for which ASEAN has been established. It is a means to promote greater awareness and solidarity about ASEAN. It represents a stable, peaceful, united and dynamic ASEAN. The colors of the flag, as you can see, are blue, red, white and yellow, and these four colors represent the main colors of the flags of all the ASEAN member states. Now, let us look a bit further. The blue represents peace and stability, and it also matches the color of the flag of the background color of the flag of the European Union. So, it represents peace and stability. The color red depicts courage and dynamism. The color white shows purity and yellow symbolizes prosperities. Now, if you look at the center of the flag, the stalks of paddy in the center, paddy means rice, in the center of the emblem represent all the countries of Southeast Asia bound together in friendship and solidarity as the stalk of paddy has been tied together. The circle represents once again, like the stars of the European Union flag, the circle represents the unity of the ASEAN member countries. The regional grouping has made the most progress in economic integration by creating an ASEAN economic community. With few of the fastest growing economies of the world, ASEAN commands far greater influence on Asia Pacific trade, politics and security issue than any of its member states could have achieved or done or influenced individually. So, there is a strength in coming together among ASEAN members. And if ASEAN were a single entity, it would rank as the 6th largest economy in the world, behind the US, China, Japan, India and Germany. The ASEAN's community building efforts are based on mutual consultation, consensus and cooperation. That is, these 3 C's are operating as the bedrock of the relationship between these members. In 2003, ASEAN, like EU, expanded its objectives beyond economic and social sphere. Earlier it was just an economic and social sphere which were the focus area for the cooperation between ASEAN member states. Then later on they agreed to establish an ASEAN community comprising of 3 important pillars. What are these 3 pillars? The first is the ASEAN Political Security Community. The second one is the ASEAN Economic Community, and the third pillar is ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Now let us discuss about these 3 pillars in detail one by one. Let us begin with the ASEAN Political Security Community. Now the ASEAN Political Security Community aims to ensure that countries in this region live at peace with one another and with the world in a just, that is justice based, democratic and harmonious environment. They pledge to rely exclusively on peaceful processes in the settlement of intra-regional differences, and they regard their security as fundamentally linked to the security of one another, and they are bound by geographic location, common vision and objectives that they share with each other. The ASEAN Political and Security Community has some important components. What are these components, or what are the focus areas? These are political development, shaping and sharing of norms of behavior between each other. There are processes for conflict prevention, conflict resolution and also post-conflict peace building and implementing these mechanisms. The ASEAN Security Community is based on the conviction that outstanding territorial dispute among member states should not become armed confrontation that involves military at any point of time. So what they want is that military should not get involved. These should be resolved through mutual discussion, cooperation and consultation. Unlike the European Union, ASEAN does not intend to establish a supranational structure or any institutions like Court of Justice in the European Union. Instead, they have adopted a form of interaction that is more informal and based on cooperation and non-confrontation with each other. In their relations with one another, the ASEAN member states have adopted some fundamental principles, and these principles are there as the basic guideline for member states to behave. These principles are contained in the Treaty of Amity and Cooperation in Southeast Asia, also called as STAC. What are these principles? The first principle is mutual respect for the independence, sovereignty, equality, territorial integrity and national identity of all the nations. The second important principle that all of them observe is the right of every state to lead its national existence free from external interference, subversion or coercion. That is, they should not be coerced or fearful of any other external power or interference. The third important principle is non-interference in the internal affairs of one another. Whatever happens within the boundary or the territory of one member state is not to be interfered by the other member. The fourth important principle is the settlement of differences among member states or disputes in a peaceful manner. That is, they will not fight under any given set of circumstances. The fifth principle is renunciation of the threat or use of force. That is, to give up, not to adopt any violent method or use of force. And finally, they follow the principle of effective cooperation among themselves. Whatever areas they have decided to cooperate in, within those areas they will have effective cooperation which is bringing mutual benefits to all the member states. Now, the ASEAN Regional Forum, which is also called as ARF, was established in 1994. What ARF does? ARF carries out coordination of foreign policy and security among the member states. Say for example, the foreign policy of member state A or one member state should not go in contrast with the foreign policy of the other member state. So, ARF tries to coordinate between the foreign policy and security among all the member states. ASEAN has several agreements upholding values of peace, cooperation, neutrality, non-interference into each other's issues, respect for sovereignty and the national differences among the nation states. But above all this, ASEAN primarily remains an economic association only, and the objective of ASEAN Economic Community, that is the second pillar which we are going to discuss now after ASEAN Political Security pillar, that was the first one. The objective of ASEAN Economic Community is to transform ASEAN into a region with free movement of goods and services, also free movement of investment, skilled labor and free flow of capital between these nations by the year 2015. The efforts are also being made to create a common market and production base in the ASEAN countries and support socio-economic development within the region among the different member states. The ASEAN Economic Community has focused on creating free trade area for investment, labor and services within the region. The US and China have already started to negotiate free trade agreement with ASEAN. Now, let us discuss the third pillar of ASEAN. The first one, the ASEAN Political Security Community, the second pillar was ASEAN Economic Community and the third pillar is the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community. Now, the ASEAN Socio-Cultural Community aims to contribute to realizing an ASEAN community, that is a people-oriented and socially responsible community with a view to achieve enduring solidarity and unity among the people and member states of the ASEAN. Now, this community seeks to forge or develop a common identity and build a caring and sharing society which is inclusive and where the well-being, livelihood and welfare of all the people are enhanced, and it leads to the rise in the standard of living of the people of these member states. The community, the socio-cultural community is focused on nurturing the human, cultural and natural resources for sustainable development in a harmonious fashion, in a people-oriented fashion to create a people and culturally oriented ASEAN. In its vision of 2020, vision of 2020 means every organization takes a goal or sets some target to be achieved by certain years. So, in its vision that ASEAN tries to achieve by 2020, ASEAN has defined an outward looking and constructive role for the ASEAN at the international level. That means, they are going to develop their outward looking approach and also play a constructive and positive role at the international level. ASEAN has mediated for bringing an end to Cambodian conflict and also mediated in ending the crisis in East Timor. ASEAN members meet annually to discuss and enhance East Asian cooperation on various issues. Now, because of its current economic strength and the success it has achieved in the past years, ASEAN has become an important and attractive partner for Asian economies like India and China. During the Cold War years, Indian foreign policy did not focus on East, but in the middle of 1990s, our Look East policy focused on forming close economic and commercial ties with the Eastern countries. In the Look East policy, we focused upon increasing strategic and security cooperation with an overall emphasis on historic, cultural and ideological linkages with East Asian countries. Look East policy adopted by India was an attempt to cultivate extensive economic and strategic relations with the nations of the Southeast Asia. India has also signed free trade agreement with Singapore and Thailand, which are two of the member states of the ASEAN. ASEAN is the only regional association in Asia that offers a platform to Asian countries and major powers to discuss issues pertaining to security and other political considerations. To conclude, let's summarize what we discussed in this part of the chapter. In this part of the chapter, we discussed about yet another example of alternative center of power, the ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Countries. We discussed about how the ASEAN was established. We discussed about its symbols, its flag, its anthem. We discussed about the three pillars: the political security community, economic community, and the socio-cultural community of ASEAN. We discussed about that how ASEAN is gradually attracting attention of the entire world and becoming a successful regional organization. In the next part of this chapter, we will discuss about the rise of China as a global power and how China is influencing the world economy and politics now. Till then, you can enjoy reading this part of the chapter. Thank you.